3 years ago, congregations and faith leaders everywhere were thrown into the deep end of digital ministry. There's a good chance that you're one of them, and you've started to improve your Sunday morning live stream. Everyone in your church knows how to raise their virtual hand on Zoom, and maybe you even began using a social media platform with new intentionality. TikTok? Anyone out there on TikTok? But now that we're approaching 3 full years in a pandemic, it might be time for a booster shot of ideas. So roll up your sleeve and keep watching. 3 ideas for your digital ministry. Number 1, start a Sermon Talkback video series on YouTube. Here's the thought. Invite a few congregants or other clergy colleagues to sit down with you each week, maybe Sunday afternoon or Monday while the sermon's still fresh. Set up a camera, your smartphone will work if you don't have anything else handy, and have a conversation about the sermon from Sunday. What questions are still lingering? What actions are we invited to take as individuals or community? You don't have to talk long. 10 to 15 minutes is more than enough. And when you're finished with the conversation, upload it to a YouTube channel. If your church doesn't have a YouTube channel, that's another good step you should be taking. Now, I'd recommend you create a playlist on your channel so people can easily follow this particular series and find these weekly conversations, and then you can embed it on your church website as well. Now, YouTube is where I'm recommending this. You can do video on Facebook and Instagram and Vimeo, but I recommend YouTube because YouTube has over 2 billion users. That's billion with a B, and it continues to be the second most used online search engine. This means that you're putting your content in the place where people are already looking for it. Now, give your video a title that might pop up when people are searching for stuff like how to read the Bible, what is prayer, and why should you try it? Would Jesus go to that protest? Something like that. Something searchable, not Sermon Talkback number 7. No, that's not searchable. Also, an idea like this not only allows you to repurpose the sermon and easily create original weekly online content, it invites your conversation partners, those congregants, clergy friends, whoever, to pay closer attention to the sermon. And what preacher doesn't want that? Number 2, create a sermon prep podcast. Now, if you're a pastor, then you probably spend a good amount of time each week preparing for Sunday's sermon or Wednesday's sermon or whenever it is you preach. Now, here's the thought. Just while you're preparing your normal prep time, just once in a while, open up your voice memo app a few times and capture your thoughts and ideas. Capture the process along the way. Ask the questions that you're still pondering. Invite listeners to share their ideas with you, and then stitch it all together. There's lots of ways to do that. If you have a Mac, GarageBand is on your computer already. Audacity is a free program anyone can download to edit audio. Stitch them together and upload them as a weekly sermon prep podcast. Now, this simple idea will do 3 things. Number 1, it will help you capture and reflect on ideas for your upcoming sermon. Number 2, it will provide other preachers who are working on their sermon with resources and ideas. And number 3, it allows your congregants to get warmed up in advance and be primed for what you're about to preach. Now, how exactly do you turn the things you say into a podcast? Great question. There's lots of podcast hosting platforms. I use Spreaker for the podcasts that I produce at Riverside, but Anchor FM is often a good place to start. It was created as the easiest way to start a podcast, and I think it probably still is. It's currently owned by Spotify, and it allows you to easily record, edit, upload, all from your phone, or you can do it through your computer if you've edited the audio elsewhere. So I recommend posting your weekly sermon prep podcast by Wednesday or maybe Thursday each week. Share a link to it on social media, maybe in your church email. That way your congregation can listen to it and engage with it. And this simple process allows you to engage some of the 380 million people who listen to podcasts. How's that for an online congregation? Number 3, turn your sermon into a Twitter thread. Now, most sermons tend to be longer than the 280 character limit imposed by Twitter, but you can still take a paragraph or 2 and turn it into engaging content for Twitter. Simply add a sentence or 2, whatever will fit within 280 characters, and then instead of tapping tweet, you aim for the little small plus icon and create a new tweet that's connected to the previous one. This is called a Twitter thread, or tweet storm back in the day. And that way people can engage with any of these individual tweets, or they can see it as part of the larger sermon context. Also, statistics show that Twitter threads are more often engaged than individual tweets, as people click into them to read the full series. So not only is this an easy way to share your sermon online in a new way, it's also a way to optimize Twitter's algorithm. Take that, algorithm. And if you want to take this idea one step further, you could end your Twitter thread with a link to the video of the full sermon or your Sermon Talkback video series that you just started. Oh, one more thing. You might have noticed that all these ideas revolve around your Sunday sermon. It's easy to become overwhelmed with the feeling that we have to create all sorts of new content for digital ministry. And while there's incredible value in doing this, we can all too easily run out of energy or the 1,440 minutes that we have each day to get it all done. And this is why I believe that repurposing the content you're already creating is an essential strategy for your digital ministry. You're already putting in hours each week to write a sermon. It deserves more than the 20 minutes you preached it. Let's squeeze a little more life out of that thing. And with a little more time, you can repurpose it in so many ways. These 3 ideas are just the beginning of the list, the tip of the metaphorical iceberg. So all this to say, when it comes to digital ministry, we don't always have to invent something new, but we can simply take what we're already doing and help people engage with it in a new way. What do you think? Send me a link with your digital ministry ideas that you're trying out. Share them in a comment below, or you can email me right here at this address. I'd love to hear, to see, to engage your digital ministry ideas. I want to cheer you on. I'd love to talk with you more about it. And yeah, we're all in this together. Isn't that from High School Musical? Yeah. All right. Next week, more digital ministry ideas. See you then.